evening, everyone, and welcome to this Monday Night Travel Holiday Kickoff celebration. Tonight, Gabe, Lisa, and I will regale you with a festive look at the holidays in Europe. Fresh off of Thanksgiving, we are so thankful for all of you. And Gabe, I believe you have a few announcements for us.
Well, hello, Ben, and happy holiday season officially to everybody. I do have a few announcements just before we get started. The first is that we have a lot of exciting Monday Night Travel shows coming up this holiday season. Next week, Ben will be chatting with a guest about Ukrainian culture, which should be fascinating. Then on the 11th, we're going to talk about Great Hikes of Europe with Pat O'Connor. And we will have a holiday show / year in review with Rick on December 18th. So sign up for those at ricksteves.com/MNT. Now to tell us a little bit about tonight's show, we have our other lovely guest for this evening, Lisa Friend.
Hello.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Monday Night Travel community. We're so grateful that you're here with us this evening. So tonight we're going to try to give people the ideas of holiday traditions or holiday events that they can travel to in Europe, with a special focus on Christmas markets. We want to give people also European traditions that they can follow along with at home. And we are trying to do this here at the end of November instead of the end of December, so you have time to get some of this stuff and enjoy it. So we will be introducing various categories for these traditions tonight that Gabe so helpfully put together for us. And we want to be grateful for the travels that we took this year, and we'd like it if you shared your travel memories with us in the Q&A, because even though we won't be in the Q&A tonight, we will definitely be reading them before we go to bed tonight. So Ben, you want to start us off?
I'll be happy to kick us off. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, Gabe. We are going to start with Christmas markets, which are, of course, a wonderful part of holiday time travel to Europe. An excellent December addition to your trip, no doubt. We would say it's great to visit one or two, but sometimes they have similar products, so you don't always need to visit several. I think that's important to mention. Definitely try to fit in one or two, but you don't need to visit every Christmas market in every town you visit across your trip. We have a few favorites to mention. The Nuremberg Christmas market in Bavaria is, of course, a favorite because it's one of the largest and one of the most visited. I mean, oh, look at that. It's beautiful. Strasbourg and Colmar, gorgeous as well. One of our colleagues was in Budapest recently and said that Christmas market was fantastic. Krakow in Poland, another excellent market. Wrocław in the western part of the country punches above its weight with a beautiful market as well. So these are just a few examples of markets. They're all across the continent, as many of you know. But Lisa, I'm curious, what are some of your favorite Christmas markets?
Well, I do agree with you that Nuremberg is like the granddaddy of all Christmas markets. So if you're there anywhere in the vicinity, it's an easy train ride from Munich. Make sure and visit that. Also, you mentioned Colmar. Colmar and Rothenburg ob der Tauber would be two of the most picturesque places you could ever go to a Christmas market in. Colmar is in eastern France. It's this beautiful combination of French chic and German handicrafts and that Hansel and Gretel feel. Rothenburg ob der Tauber is Christmas 365. They even have a Deutsches Weihnachtsmuseum, so a German Christmas museum that you could visit anytime. And that is a fully medieval town within a wall. Gorgeous town, yep. Yes. I don't want you to count out the big cities, though. Paris has the light installations, and London has such a variety of holiday events. So important that you keep in mind that the variety of markets in a big city is really wonderful. So you have ice skating in front of Somerset House in the winter. You have Winter Wonderland, this huge installation in Hyde Park, and even a Finnish Christmas market, which you might be interested in, Ben. So I just want to give people some pointers, though. If they're going to be in London over Christmas, you want to keep in mind that the tube doesn't run on Christmas Day. If you're looking for traditional English food, most restaurants are going to have special meals only, so you want to reserve that several weeks in advance. And Boxing Day used to be a day when things were really closed a lot, but now it's more just a little bit like our Black Friday, just shopping. So I would recommend London as a good place to see a nice variety of Christmas markets.
Lisa, you are so full of information. Isn't she great? Oh, gosh, I mean, what can I say? Although, okay. if you're in-
What can you say?
You can say that if you're in London, sure, go to a Finnish Christmas market because it's one of the markets that are there. But if you really want to see a Finnish Christmas market, you ought to go to the capital, Helsinki, because I think that they have an excellent Christmas market. Runs through December as is typical, and it's a little bit different because Finland has some unique products and goods to offer. I particularly like the Karelian pies they have available at the Helsinki Christmas market. It's this little hand pie from the Karelian region with different fillings. Well, it's typically a rice filling with rye kind of dough, but it can have different things in the rice filling. Reindeer is one of the options. I think carrot is sometimes another one. They also have reindeer jerky, which is quite tasty.
That's very Christmassy.
It is, yes. I mean, eating it maybe isn't the first thing that comes to mind, but I would say the other thing that I love at Finnish Christmas markets are the juices, these fresh juices, berry juices, particularly blueberry juice. Now here in the US, I mean, I don't even know if you can find blueberry juice.
I've never seen blueberry juice.
Well, in Finland, blueberries grow everywhere, even in areas outside of the downtown area of the capital, Helsinki, and it is the berries are fantastic, but the juice is something extremely special. I always feel like I'm running with antioxidants just bursting through my veins whenever I have it. So anyway, I would suggest Helsinki for a good Christmas market destination as well. And Lisa, we have actually a Christmas correspondent that helped us with content for the show, didn't we?
We do. For our first holiday kickoff show, we got a Christmas correspondent on the ground in Belgium just last Friday. So if you see on the left, this is the Bruges Christmas market, which is about an hour and a half from the capital of Brussels. And in the right, she's eating a tartiflette. So always you're going to have really good street food type things when you're at a Christmas market. And one of the other tips that I want to give you is when you're drinking something like Glühwein, which we're going to enjoy a little bit later, you often, in Germany at least, have to put down a deposit. So you want to have some small coins for that. So this is Bruges. And then in the evening, she went to Brussels by train, and the night in Brussels, the night market is fantastic. Here we go. So this is Bruges in the daylight. And I agree with Ben that he said that, you know, if you go to Christmas markets in the same area, the same country, they will have similar handicrafts, but if you go in different countries, there are going to definitely be some individuality. Julie said that they were playing 80s power ballads during the daytime, and we had to dub in some Christmas music. Like I said, then she went to Brussels, and I think that the handicrafts here are exceptional. If you notice, coming up on the right, there's a little woman who's making her own umbrellas and selling. So it's not just stuff from China. Markets have laws that things have to be produced locally. And then here's the medieval tower with the light installation. I love these light installations in the winter because they have them a lot in the summer on special monuments, but it gets dark so late. For example, I can't stay up till 11:30 at night in France to see the light installations, but here the sun is going down at 5:30, 6 p.m. So I can definitely stay awake for that. Isn't that beautiful?
Gorgeous.
So after that, Gabe, you've come back. I feel like you've got something to contribute.
Of course, I have appeared, and we are going to be throughout this show, and actually throughout the fall, we've received a lot of wonderful messages from our various viewers who have written into us with some of their favorite travel memories for the year. And so I'd like to share some of those right now. I have my, of course, Rick Steves Ravenna backpack here, heavy with all the letters from the mail carrier. And our first letter, it looks like it comes from Barbara. So let's take a moment and let's hear from Barbara about her favorite travel memories of 2023. So Barbara says, my husband and I traveled back to Sweden in August for his former boss's 90th birthday. We are very familiar with Gothenburg, and it felt good to go somewhere that felt like home. Since we were flying home from Denmark and had a couple of days to explore, we decided to take the advice of more than one person, which was to visit the Louisiana Museum. It's about a half-hour train ride from downtown Copenhagen, and according to my cell phone maps app, a 5-minute walk from the Hummelbach station. However, the directions put us one stop short of that train station. As we walked down a meandering path speaking English, a local woman asked where we were headed. I suspect she knew and wanted to help us out. She said we were about 5 miles from the museum and might not be able to get there before it closed. Fortunately, there was a bus stop across the street, and she waited with us and even took the bus for us with a stop and explained to the bus driver our plight and that we did not have the local bus pass. He understood and waved us on without asking for payment. We were grateful for the kindness of strangers who really did represent their society's values for being helpful and kind. A highlight of our trip, which made the museum the second best thing we experienced that day.
Oh,
So I know, I love these. It's true. So often the sights are incredible, but they become the second best part of your day when your day is imbued with experiences with locals. And so thank you, Barbara, for sharing that. I have one more letter that we're going to share now. We'll have some coming up later, but this one is from Veronica.
Is it
So
choke me up too? Because I got a little emotional when people were so sweet.
I feel like you might have a low bar, Lisa. Might need to get you a tissue. All right, so from Veronica. My mom and I traveled to Ireland with Rick Steves Europe in early October as part of the Heart of Ireland tour. This was our first time traveling together for an extended period of time, as well as our first time as part of a tour. We couldn't have been more thrilled with the experience. From the beautiful countryside landscape and our delicious group dinners to the incredible music shared by our guide on our long bus drives, we learned so much about Ireland. I now have a better sense of the complexity of Irish history, which is long and difficult, but ultimately has resulted in a peaceful and thriving country that looks to the future with optimism. The Irish people, with their stories and humor, were a joy to get to know. So another connection with locals there. And I want to finish this first session of travel gratitudes with my travel gratitude for the year. So I returned to Europe this year for the first time since 2019. In 2019, I was on the Rick Steves Europe Best of Switzerland tour, and we went to Bern, where it is tradition amongst the locals to float down the Aar River. But it was a little bit cold when I was there. It was May. And so this time, returning in August, my friends and I floated down the Aar River, and it felt so good to make that travel dream a reality. I have a little video clip of floating down the Aar for you. And I hope that you all are able to experience it someday. So let's take a dip. It was, so you'll see, typically this is us walking into the river. It was a bit of a cold day. It is glacier fed. You can hear us taking the dive. Normally on a hot day in the summer, the river is just filled with locals. I talked to local Bernese people that said that they would just float down on their lunch break. You'll see the river's a little bit emptier here because it was kind of it was probably 65 degrees air temperature. So there I am swimming with my dry bag. I put all my clothes in my dry bag and swam, and you finish at the Parliament building. So here we are finishing the swim at the Parliament building. So that was my favorite travel memory of the year. So Lisa, we're going to get back to some European traditions right now, maybe some things that people can incorporate into their own festivities this year. And I want to start by chatting about some European holiday decorations. So can you tell us about some decorations?
Well, I have a decoration memory that I would like to share. The first time I went to Europe in the winter, it was, late November, right around this time of year. And I was staying with some friends in Germany and Austria. And I couldn't believe how much greenery they used for their decorations, how much natural elements, I should say. And at my friends' houses, they would literally go outside and pick up branches and pine cones off the ground, or maybe go into the forest near the houses. And I thought this was because they were on a student budget. And then I went to their parents' house and noticed the same thing, how, these weren't plastic greenery, that it was very important that they went and gathered this. from their nearby area and used it. And I wondered at the time, and still do, if this has to do maybe with pagan decorations, pre-Christmas or pre-Christian celebrations. And I loved how my friends, even though they didn't have a tree or a mantle or space for that, they still decorated their beautiful their windowsill with greenery and twigs and candles. And I thought it was great. And I've tried to incorporate that into my life ever since.
That's beautiful. I love this celebration of nature, of greenery. It's fantastic. Well, I have a decoration to share with you as well, and it's the Yule goat. Actually, I have a little Yule goat here. This is borrowed from a friend, a colleague here, Richard, or you might remember from Monday Night Travels past. You can see him here. He's made out of straw. This is the form that Yule goats most commonly come in today, but the history of the Yule goat is long and significant. Dates back to pagan times. And in the 19th century, the Yule goat was a gift giver. And I should say, Gabe and Lisa, you might be very surprised to know this. So this shows the historic significance of the Yule goat in Northern Europe, particularly Finland and Sweden, maybe Norway as well. In Finland, Santa Claus is called Joulupukki. That means Christmas goat. That is literally the name for Santa Claus in Finland, Christmas goat, or shorthand Pukki, which I quite like.
Well, or the goat, greatest of all time.
Yeah, that's a good point. And in the city of Gavle in Sweden, since 1966, they have had a giant straw goat on the main square of the city. There you see it there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's huge. I don't have the exact dimensions, but it's very significant. And that's on the main square of the city. So they certainly honor their Yule goats. So I would say whether you're in Northern Europe or at home, consider adding the Yule goat to your holiday decor.
I'm kind of afraid of that, honestly. Well, as wonderful and niche as the Yule goat is, I think I might be able to one-up it in terms of niche. My favorite holiday decoration is the Catalan poop log, the cagatio, literally translating to poop log. And I am going to tell you a little bit about the cagatio. So some scholars think that the cagatio in the Catalan region of Spain, where Barcelona is the capital, something that it goes all the way back to pagan traditions where people would choose a tree trunk and they would burn it and kind of celebrate it as the tree of Christmas. Even if that is true, nobody claims to know the strange twists and turns that tradition went through to arrive at today's tradition. But now it is very common to see families or even schools have a cagatio, which again translates to a poop log. I made my own cagatio. They are all fairly crude. I think mine's even a little bit cruder, but it is simply a log. He has a little red hat. And just a little painted on face. A big thank you to my friend Boris for providing me this log. And what the children do is throughout the holiday season, starting on December 8th and all the way to Christmas Eve, they'll feed cagatio every night. Sometimes they'll even put a little orange, and then in the morning they'll come and there's just a peel left. Some families will even have different sized cagatios that will get bigger and bigger throughout the holiday season. And then come Christmas Eve, it is payback time. What they do is they set cagatio near the fireplace. The parents will place a blanket over his rear, and the children will brandish sticks, and they will beat cagatio and implore him to poop out gifts and candy. And they sing this song. They sing, cagatio, Tío de Nadal, no cagues arengades, que son más asaladas, cagatoron, que son más bon. That song roughly translates to poop log, log of Christmas, don't poop pickled herring, it is too salty, poop torons or candies, they are more sweet. And then what the parents do after the beating is complete, they take the blanket away from his rear and they reveal the candy and the treats. So Ben, I have a gift for you. It's a Keep On Traveling t-shirt.
Oh,
and Lisa, come on up here. I have for you some new Rick Steves Europe luggage tags just on sale recently. Great stocking stuffer.
Brand
The
new.
Duomo and the Neuschwanstein Castle on there.
You took this out of inventory. I really get to keep this, right?
We'll talk about it.
No, Lisa, I want to trade.
No.
I want to trade. I already have a shirt. Gabe, I love the shirt.
And then lastly, we have the Toron candy, which is traditionally it's kind of a nougat that has nuts in it. So this is the candy that they implore the poop log to poop out for them. So it is quite delicious. So we'll cover our poop log up once more.
And hope that we
Thank you
more
very
days.
much. We fed him well.
There might be more later. Gabe.
There might be more later. And so the Kagatio kind of is a decoration, but also a tradition. And there are a lot of other wonderful Christmas traditions that happen across Europe. So Ben, can you share with us another Christmas tradition that we should be aware of?
Yes, this is another one that spans across many countries, and it's the nativity scene. In Italian, presepi. They're very common. They come in many different forms. There are a few examples I think we'll show you in an image. In the Germanic countries, they commonly carve wood to make their nativity scenes. And they'll even show up as signs sometimes. So in Austria, for example, you will see Auf Wiedersehen, which just means goodbye, and then there'll be a beautiful inlet of a nativity scene. It's really something quite special. Other times, you might even see families make their own nativity scene at home, and that is what we did in 2019. Gabe, you kind of
did.
That was really special. That was really well done. So 2019, and did we win an award for that?
We did. We won the award. Everybody was given a box and had to create a holiday diorama, and ours was the victor.
Well, you put a lot of creativity into that. It was excellent. And sometimes in Europe, especially in southern Italy, you may even find live nativity scenes, although our impression is that these are becoming a bit less common today. So the nativity scene, or presepi, I think is a great European tradition that you can consider at home or when you're traveling.
Personally, my favorite tradition comes on Christmas Eve, and it is the Icelandic tradition of Jólabókaflóð, which literally means the Christmas book flood. And the Icelandic people have a very long literary tradition, going all the way back to the Viking sagas. And in fact, to this day, interestingly, Iceland has more new titles published per capita than any other country. Of course, they have a very small population, but it's honestly to the point that the Christmas book flood is such a large tradition that almost every new title is put on sale between September and November so that it can be part of the Christmas book drive, where there's a catalog that's sent out to all the homes and people order their books. This tradition goes back to World War II, when a lot of resources were really strictly rationed for Iceland, but paper was rationed a little less strictly, making it more abundant than other options and making books the gift of choice during those wartime years. That tradition has now stuck, and now it is a tradition for every Christmas Eve. Icelandic families will gather around the fire, they'll exchange books, and they will sit quietly and read. And in some cases, I've heard, just eat chocolate or drink hot chocolate, which sounds like my perfect holiday night. It sounds like a great holiday evening to me, and actually it's a holiday evening that I've had a few times before. This pictured here actually is not an Icelandic family, it is my family. You can see an image of me and my niece enjoying a Jólabókaflóð moment together, reading when it's snowy outside in Michigan. And then the other photo is my niece doing some reading of her own with her little black and white book. We're all very proud of her. So my family has enjoyed many Jólabókaflóð celebrations, and I would like to enjoy one tonight. Ben and Lisa, I actually have some gifts for you.
Oh, Gabe, you shouldn't have.
So Ben, for you, I have an excellent book, Rick Steves Italy for Food Lovers.
I love food. Thank you, Gabe.
And Lisa, I have Rick Steves Europe's Top 100 Art Masterpieces to celebrate the release of our new television season about art.
Thank you. I love masterpieces.
And for myself, I got our Travel Skills Handbook Europe through the back door, including two, I have to say, exceptional articles written by one of our staffers, Gaba Gooning, I think it is, something like that. So those will be some good articles I'll be sure to read.
And that's how I will forever pronounce your name. Gabe, thank you very much.
Well, I hope that all of you get some good books and have a good Yola Boca Flod this Christmas Eve.
It sounds like a great new tradition. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And now I think that we have some more gifts coming our way.
We do. So my tradition was Christmas crackers from England. So I have one for you and one for you, and I'll stand in the middle and help you pull. So these have small explosives in them, so you cannot take them on the airplane.
Okay.
It's traditional. You would have one per person at the Christmas dinner table, and people would take turns pulling them, cracking them, and there should be a little toy and maybe a good dad joke and a Christmas crown. So are you ready to try this?
I'm ready. I mean, you said that they're small explosives, right? Because otherwise people might be witnessing the end of Monday Night
The
Travel.
last opportunity. Ready?
Gabe will, Rick will have to take over for us.
Oh, no.
1, 2, 3.
Wow, well done.
That was not very explosive.
I can smell it though.
I can't, yeah. Smells a little smoky. And Ben, I think both of ours kind of flew across the room. I think I see some of your content.
I did not get the big pieces there.
I think I lost something here, and there's a
Oh,
whistle.
thank
There's
you.
a big piece. A little different tune, yours. I like it. And a crown. Yes.
And it looks like we have some holiday jokes. So for everybody at home, what's the difference between a well-dressed man on a bike and a poorly dressed man on a unicycle? A tire.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
All right, well, I love our Christmas crown.
Thank you, Lisa.
Very nice. Thank you, Lisa, for our holiday treats.
You're welcome. And you would wear these if you were in England, you would wear these for the rest of the meal. And if you were a royalist, you'd wear them until 3 p.m. when the new king gives his Christmas message. So that is the tradition of Christmas crackers. Ben, I think you have some more travel gratitude for us.
I do. Thank you, Lisa. I will grab that here from our trusty Ravenna Day Pack, and I believe I have a nice green envelope. Yes, the first travel gratitude comes from Lori.
Green for Ben Green.
Exactly, yes.
Was that always your color? Cool.
Typically. Travel is not a single teaching moment, but a series of moments that open up your mind to being taught. I love that. This fall, we visited France, and first and foremost, we were reminded just how privileged we are to have the opportunity to travel. By going to the countryside, we were instantly transported to the slower paced lifestyle. Staying a few kilometers outside of the town of Martel, we were instantly immersed in the local lifestyle. We learned to pick up local fresh food, including recently harvested walnuts at the old market hall on Wednesday and Friday. We had fun practicing our meager French to the joyous laughter of the proprietors. We learned that the best experiences are found simply by having a must-see list and then diverging from it at every opportunity, finding an entire list of even better. I like that a lot. We learned that you should always try to speak the language, and in doing so, you are welcomed, whether in the countryside or in the city. We found Paris, despite rumors to the contrary, to be friendly, and perhaps it is simply about getting back to the kindness that you put out there. So for us, by just being present and open to new experiences and unplanned diversions, travel becomes a joyous teaching experience of the society you were visiting. I think that's wonderful. I love how Lori made a must-see list, but she wasn't, she didn't completely adhere to it. She was willing to be a little spontaneous, and I think that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you, Lori.
And I love it when people remind us all that the French don't hate us.
Ah, yes.
I think the French people are very friendly, and I love the French countryside for traveling. I like Paris too, but I go there quite often and I really love to get out in the countryside.
Yeah.
The variety of French countryside is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, you have another.
I have one more from Donna.
I hope Donna's watching tonight.
I
I
hope
hope
she
she's
is too.
staying with us through the technical difficulties.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, I believe Donna recently went on the Best of Turkey tour, which I'm signed up for April, so I even appreciated Donna's comments for travel gratitude even more. Is it from Turkey?
I believe this is from Turkey, yes.
From the tour or?
Yeah, when we went on the guides tour in November 21.
Amazing. Okay, well, I'll talk to you for tips later. So Donna writes to us, when I least expected it, I learned a profound life lesson in Istanbul. My husband, Tim, and I were waiting for a ride outside the Istanbul airport after our Best of Turkey tour, when a fashionable young Middle Eastern couple walks up to my husband. The young man offers his phone to Tim and asks in halting English, "You take picture?" Since that is definitely not Tim's forte, I take the phone and snap the picture of the couple. As I hand the phone back to the young man, he hesitantly asks, "Where are you from?" I enthusiastically respond, "Dallas, Texas." The look on his face rapidly changes into utter confusion and astonishment. So I say, "Why? Where are you from?" He earnestly replies, "Tehran, Iran." We stare at each other for a beat while we both process this, and then both of us burst out laughing while our thoroughly confused spouses look on. We laugh, and I finally ask him, "Are we laughing because we're supposed to hate each other?" He stops laughing, looks me in the eye, and answers, "Yes, but that is leaders, not us. You and I, we get along." Isn't that exactly why we travel? I just thought that was so sweet. Isn't it, Lisa?
I really think I should have been allowed to read these before we went on camera,
Oh,
because that
yeah.
is ding dang heartwarming and needed.
And again, a reminder that a lot of the joy of travel is about the people you meet along the way, even in an airport or when you least expect it. Yeah, so thank you, Lori and Donna, for those great travel gratitudes. And I will put this safely back where I found it. Now I have the pleasure of sharing my travel gratitude for the year as my lap gradually gets higher and higher from all the gifts that Gabe has so generously provided us this evening. I'm all right, Gabe. Thank you. My travel gratitude for the year is from my time in Finland, actually, just above the Arctic Circle, because for a few reasons, as you'll see, in part because it connected me to a slice of nature that I hadn't previously experienced or known about. I jumped in a car, my girlfriend and I, and we traveled 9 hours from Tampere in the south to the region of Salla, which is in northeastern Finland near the Russian border. And once you exit the region of North Ostrobothnia and enter the region of Lapland, the most northern region of Finland, all of a sudden you have to watch where you're driving, because lovely creatures like this reindeer here on the left show up almost everywhere. Like every few minutes there was a reindeer, and they don't move quickly through the road like they do here. They are very kind of sauntering along, so you really have to drive very carefully, and there are signs everywhere that remind drivers you are in an area of reindeer husbandry. And in fact, there are some 200,000 reindeer in Lapland, which is more than the number of people that live there, so pretty significant. I had the pleasure of walking the reindeer farm that I visited. I had the pleasure of walking their pet reindeer. His name was Vesku. Vesku was wonderful to trot along with. He was very sweet until he was near food, and then he got a bit ornery, but I can understand that. I mean, he's not the only one where that could happen to.
Sorry to interrupt, what does the ornery reindeer do?
Just pull on the leash.
Oh.
Nothing that, or this ornery reindeer, actually, this is the gentleman who gave us the tour of the reindeer farm in Salla, and he had lichen, and you see that's what I'm feeding the reindeer there. Apparently it's like candy, he said, and this reindeer was really like trying to nudge him in the back for some lichen. Yeah, and these are semi-wild creatures. They roam miles and miles from the farm that they're originally from, but they often return home in winter because that's where they can easily get food, because there are feet and feet of snow here. So they're really just incredible, and I deeply enjoyed my time with them. The second part of my trip was hiking in the region, and so this is a fell in Salla. Northern Finland has these fells, which are like high hills or low mountains. And a fell is this hill where essentially the tree line disappears and it becomes like alpine tundra, basically. So this is the Fell of Salla in Finland's newest national park. It's the 14th national park in Finland that I've been able to visit.
I'm
Actually,
sorry, could you say that again for the people in the back? How many?
14.
Wow.
Yeah, all gorgeous, each one different. And the views from Salla stretch all the way to Russia. So we were looking at Russia in that picture, in fact. So this is my a travel gratitude moment or trip for this year, because I felt so connected to nature and I loved learning about reindeer. And of course, it's a perfect time to discuss reindeer, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was really grateful for that experience. And now we can move on to perhaps my favorite category this evening, food and drink. Lisa, you have something very special to share with us, don't you?
Well, thank you. I believe I do. I am inviting you into my house and I am going to prepare my favorite Christmas morning breakfast. And this is a video that we made that we'd like to show to you. Hello, MNT friends. Welcome to my kitchen and happy holidays. My cherished Christmas memory is an edible one, German pancakes, or as some people inaccurately call them, Dutch babies, but we'll get to that later. The reason I love having German pancakes on Christmas morning is because they're easy to make, only 5 ingredients, and there's a definite wow factor when they come out of the oven, which you'll see tonight. Let's get started. We'll put the recipe in the chat feature and you'll have a record of it. So we're going to start with 3 eggs. So because we don't have the chat feature tonight, it'll be in the follow-up email tomorrow.
Good reminder. Yes.
You ready for this business?
Yes. Yes.
I wasn't supposed to make the final cut. I was talking to Zen, our camera person. Whisk, whisk, whisk. So equal parts milk and flour, doesn't matter. Whole milk, 2%, 1%, skim. Well, not skim. This is 1%.
This is so well done, Lisa.
Thank you. Well, it only took us, well, it took us hours to get all the technology to work, but not only 30 minutes to make the add the milk to the eggs, stir that together, get a lot of air in there, and then add the flour all together. So I'm going to put the pan in the oven to get it hot. You want to make sure that it doesn't stay in there too long so your butter doesn't burn when you add it. You could also preheat this on the stove top. Let our pan get hot, we're going to add our butter. So bring out your preheated pan, but use your oven mitt. This is very important. I mentioned the oven mitt several times because I have burned my hand many times. Oh, very proud of how the butter turned out. It's just foaming.
Yeah, when the handle sticks out like that, I think you should be able to grab it, don't you?
Yeah, especially after you've cooked it.
Right.
Right into the hot butter, right in the pan, right in the middle, so the butter goes out on the edges. And then remembering to put your thing in, now we're going to put it in the oven. Obviously, I cannot remember the word for oven mitt, so I said thing. My grandmother was German. I've learned that what I know as a German pancake is an American invention by German immigrants. And the name Dutch baby is a linguistic mistake by a young girl right here in Seattle. Her father, Victor Menke, owned a restaurant in Seattle and made a Deutsch pancake, which she heard as Dutch, and she called it a baby because he made her a smaller one. So the Menke family owned a trademark for Dutch babies in the 1940s. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I call everyone into the kitchen when their pancake comes out. They must come running. Oh, yeah. And that burns through the thing. The thing.
It's a good genetic thing.
And there it deflates.
You're having us over for these.
Yes, I would be happy to. They're super easy.
Yeah, 5 ingredients, you said?
5 ingredients.
Amazing.
And this is pure happiness because
So much for
Dan
joining
had
us.
made me put in
You
extra
saw the
salt.
wow factor as it came out of the oven, but I hope you enjoy having a German pancake on your Christmas morning.
So Zen made me do the salt a couple of times and they made me do the lemon a couple of times for the shot. So I thought this was gonna taste horrible. So when I took that bite and the joy on my face, that's real because I was happy that it didn't taste horrific. So that is my Christmas morning tradition and I hope that you can join up, you can
Make
weave
that at home.
that in, yeah, make it yourself.
Easy.
It is easy.
Thank you for presenting that to us.
Welcome.
Oh, and I think Gabe has something here he wants to share.
I have something to go with that German pancake.
Thank you.
We have here some Glühwein.
Thank you. Oh, that's hot. Thanks.
Why do
Yes.
you like blue vine so much, Gabe?
Glühwein. Well, I will tell you why I like Glühwein so much. And that is, well, first I'm going to tell you what Glühwein is, and then I'll tell you why it's important to me. Let's do that. Also, I would just like to show off my rainbow unicorn cup that I stole from my roommate. So thank you. The best gifts are the ones that are pilfered from the kitchen cabinet. So Glühwein is essentially mulled wine. The first recorded instance of a spiced mulled wine goes all the way back to the 2nd century with the Roman Empire.
Wow.
And it's thought that they carried this tradition throughout Europe. Glühwein, some people say that it literally translates to glow wine. There are a couple theories why. The foremost one that I found is because of the hot irons that were used to heat it. They glowed, thus making it glow wine. It's a very popular thing to drink, especially in the Germanic world and especially at Christmas markets. As Lisa mentioned earlier, if you go to a Christmas market, a lot of them have a rule, both for the quality of the experience and to be environmentally friendly. They don't have disposable mugs. They will give you a real mug. You might notice that the price of the Glühwein seems a bit steep, and that is because it includes the deposit for the mug. You're welcome to keep the mug, or you can return it for that deposit money. And the reason that Glühwein is important to me is because I have had the privilege of spending a few holidays at the cabin of my friends John and Hartmut. Hartmut, as his name suggests, is Austrian. They have a beautiful cabin perched on the edge of a river valley. And on Thanksgiving, when we're out there, Hartmut will make his own Glühwein recipe. It tastes better when it's made by an Austrian. And before our Thanksgiving meal, we go for a cold walk with our Glühwein to keep us warm. And it is one of my favorite holiday memories and a great example of a way that a European tradition has made it here to the US. So
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Gabe.
To your Glühwein.
It tastes like the holidays, doesn't it?
It really does. Cheers to you all at home. And Ben, I hear that you finally have something to give Lisa and I.
Oh, I suppose I can. Yeah. Oh, I get the pleasure of discussing Christmas cookies with you all. Probably my most beloved Christmas time food. I'm going to share just a few varieties with you, a few European varieties. So this is the Linzer cookie, comes from Austria, and I make Linzer cookies every year. These cookies that you see here are from 2019, and I won the award for most festive cookie at the Rick Steves Europe Holiday Cookie Exchange.
That is a prestigious award.
Yes, I'm
On par with winning the Great British Bake Off, the Great Rick Steves Europe Bake Off.
Well, I certainly take pride in it, as you can see. They're delicious cookies sandwiched together. So there's two, and then you put raspberry jam in the middle, and then normally you top it with powdered sugar. And the dough is made from nuts. So one of my favorites. We also have the Spritz cookie. This is German. I think it's Spritzgebäck or something like that in its full term. These are made with a press that my family's had for about 25 years. They're pretty common, I think, these presses. You can use different holiday shapes. You see stars, there's some Christmas trees there, and we like to color them and then decorate them. Really easy, very, very fun. A popular and easy German tradition if you could create at home. And going back to Finland, I believe, next, we have joulutorttu. So before we had joulupukki, Christmas goat, now we have joulutorttu, Christmas cookie. And this is simply, well, for ease, I use puff pastry, this sheet of puff pastry, and you cut it in the four corners, and then you take the opposite corner and move it into the center. And there are videos for this online. It's very easy. And then you put jam in the middle of it and you bake it for, it's only like 10 minutes. It's delicious, super easy. And of course, the star shape is quite festive as well. So I have a few that I have prepared.
When I arrived, I can vouch for Ben. When I arrived at the office today, Ben was actively making these.
So
Appreciate
they're
that.
legit. And
Thank
here,
you.
I'll just bring it up here so you have a look. I didn't use finished jam. So the American jam is quite good, of course, but it's not as thick. And I also have pfeffernuss here.
I would like a pfeffernuss, please.
Easier to eat right now as well. A German spice cookie that I also like. So cookies, come on.
Ooh, it's like a black licorice flavor.
Yes.
Anna.
Yeah, anise, exactly.
I'm Dutch, so I love black licorice.
So those are a few of my beloved Christmas cookies.
Well, thank you very much, Ben. And next, we're going to move on now that we are well fed and have the energy. We're going to move on to some Christmas characters. And Ben, I think that you are going to kick us off.
Yes, we're going back to the Germanic countries, specifically the Alpine region. I have the great honor of talking to you about Krampus. Many of you might have heard of Krampus. He's kind of made a resurgence in recent years. This is the alter ego of Santa Claus. Krampus is a horned character who scares children, essentially, children who have misbehaved. So if the threat of getting coal from Santa isn't enough, you could consider bringing up story from Alpine Europe of Krampus. In some Alpine towns, and you see, come on, that's pretty scary.
It is scary.
Yeah. In some Alpine towns, there were Krampus runs where young men dress up as Krampus and attempt to scare passers-by. So, Krampus, he's along with Santa Claus. He's my favorite holiday character. Yeah, I know. You don't think so, Lisa?
He's scary and he makes it unhappy to walk home by yourself. Yeah, no, I don't like him.
That's all right. I'll enjoy Krampus myself and,
All right,
and make him part of my holiday traditions at least.
You're braver than I am. And my children are too old to scare anymore, so.
Fair enough.
You just scare them by turning off the Wi-Fi to the house. It'll terrify them.
And you're taking us to Italy next, is that right, Lisa?
I am taking you to Italy. So my Christmas character comes to Italy on the 6th of January. She is La Befana. And she puts little toys and treats into the stockings that are hung in the kitchen for good children or coal for bad children. And she really ushers out the end of the Christmas season with her little rhyme, which is La Befana vien di notte con le scarpe tutte rotte col vestito alla romana viva viva la Befana. Which means, thank you, which means she comes by night with her shoes all tattered and torn, dressed like a Roman. Long live La Befana. She is not nearly as scary as the Krampus.
Well, I mean, it's no poop log song, but I would say it's pretty good. A close second. Well, while Ben chose a Krampus demon and Lisa chose a witch, I am the very pious one of the bunch, and I'm going to talk about the Christkind, which I was actually surprised. I had learned about the Christkind before, and I guess I just forgot that it literally started with Martin Luther. It's not just Lutherans. Luther himself started the Christkind tradition as a way to pull attention away from Saint Nicholas, who of course was the Catholic figure. And he wanted a gift-giving figure that was more directly related to the Christ child to remind people of the reason for the season. So the Christkind, many of you might recognize her from the Rick Steves European Christmas special. We're going to watch a little clip of that now, followed by an exclusive interview between Rick and the Christkind herself.
As in so many cultures, kids love their local version of Santa Claus. While Santa is a legend, his character is based on Saint Nicholas, a kind and generous bishop who actually lived in Turkey in the 4th century. Holiday gift-giving, especially in Catholic regions, is often associated with the feast day of Saint Nicholas, December 6. But Germany is Luther country. Back in the early 1500s, the great reformer Martin Luther wanted to humanize the Christmas story by shifting the focus away from the saints and back onto the birthday boy, Jesus. Rather than jolly old Saint Nick bringing the goodies on December 6th, Luther established the idea that gifts would be given on the 25th by the Christ child, or in German, Christkind. But for kids, it was hard to imagine the little baby in the manger delivering gifts. So an angel served as the gift-giving Christ child. And somehow, the angel came to be represented by a young girl. She spends her reign spreading the joy of the season. The Christkind concludes by telling the enthralled children, if you're very, very gentle, you can touch my wings. But Christkind, Christ child, is a girl. Why is that?
Yes, we make a difference between Christkind, it's like a Christmas fairy, and Christuskind. Christuskind is Christ child, and that's Jesus.
Okay.
And so the figure of the Christkind has its origins in the Rauschgoldengel. It's an angel, and it's the symbol figure of the market, of our Christkindless market in Nuremberg.
So Martin Luther wanted the baby Jesus to give the gifts, but Jesus let the angel help.
Yeah, that's partly true. He wanted to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, and so it's on Christmas Eve, the present bringing, and it should be a party for Jesus.
So tell me how you became the Christkind of Nuremberg.
I wrote a letter to the government, to our city, and yeah, they had a lot of letters, and you had to write why you want to become Christkind. And they chose 12 girls, and they were published in the newspaper and on the internet. And then the citizens were allowed to vote. And the 6 girls with the most votes were invited in front of a jury, and they nominated me.
Congratulations.
For the Christkind.
Excellent. Now, really special. Lisa, I think you have some travel gratitudes. Yeah.
I do. It's time for me to have the Ravenna
Here you go.
backpack. And I'm very excited. I'm hoping to make it through these 2 without crying. So the first one comes from Becky. And Becky, Becky. Hello, I saw you were accepting trip reports and learnings in the last M&T show, so I thought I would add my 2 cents. I always love people's 2 cents. We visited Ireland, my father-in-law's family heritage, in March of this year. It was a wonderful family trip with parents and adult children that we wanted to take before life got too busy to get all of us together. We hired several drivers and took day tours to get around the countryside with our larger group. And the guides we encountered really made our experience meaningful. The Irish gift of gab is alive and well. From Michael with, I think it's pronounced Shoord, but I'm not positive, Shoord archaeology tours in Dingle, to Tom in the Aran Islands, to Rory who took us along the cliffs of Moher and through the Burren. Everyone was a joy to chat with and was full of information. Our hats off to Michael especially, who still managed to make the history and archaeology of the Dingle Peninsula come alive even on a truly terrible weather day. Photo attached from our group at Kilmacader Church. The other highlights were taking part in the Irish Zest for Life at the pubs, enjoying both music and dancing, and seeing the amazing setting of Dun Ingus in a rare spot of March sunshine. And I even got to wear my Keep On Traveling shirt for the first time on the trip. Thanks for all your team does to make independent travel wonderful for us. Becky, thank you for sharing that with us. And at some point, I would like you to email me at lisa@ricksteves.com and let me know if your family hung their heads over the edge at Dun Ingus, because that is terrifying. So
I can say that I did not
you did
when
not?
I was in Dun Ingus, but did you? Have you?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm impressed, Lisa.
Well, you know, the thing is, Ben, I'm old enough that I remember when you could do that at the Cliffs of Moher before they walled it off. So yes, I had that horrible feeling in my stomach and did it anyway. So thank you so much. This is from Dennis. Dennis, my friend in New Orleans, who I gave a shout out to when I did my Italian cooking class, but I don't know if he was watching that night. Dennis says, after a Rick Steves Best of Scandinavia tour in 2023, I learned that there are countries in the world that are more about we instead of me, me, me. With my ancestry of both Irish and Danish, I learned I felt just at home in Denmark as I did in Ireland. I also learned that addiction to breakfast pastries is a real thing. There will be skolebrød in heaven. Dennis, you are so right. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Oh, there he is. Oh, and the pictures of the pastries. That's fantastic.
Danish pastries are.
I mean,
something special.
they're it. So I want to talk very briefly about my travel gratitude. I was very lucky. Sorry, Dennis. Put that over there. I was very lucky to tour around the provinces of Puglia and Basilicata in Italy this past May with my friends. And here we are in the town of Matera, which I thought this picture was very apropos since we were talking about Christmas tonight, because that sort of reminds me of, you know, the starlit sky. So Matera is a town where people were living in caves up until the 1950s, and is so biblical looking that they actually used this town to film the Passion of the Christ. And then we made our way to Bari. Bari has gotten so beautiful over the last 20 years. It was really sort of more of a port town, and Rick often talks about these second cities, industrial cities that are having this resurgence. And Bari really blew me away with all of my expectations. And we went there specifically because I will always look and see if there's a festival going on when I'm traveling. And this is the Feast of St. Nicholas. So in the 11th century, the relics of St. Nicholas left Turkey, now modern day Greece, and made it to the shores of Bari. So this is the anniversary of that. And after we were, and Bari was just fantastic, friendly people. Honestly, Bari was everything that I ever thought Italy would be like.
Are those lights on this structure?
Those are lights. Those
Wow.
are big metal screens with lights, and they had several of them around the town. It's 3 days, this festival, with parades and fireworks on multiple nights. It was really worth going to, and there weren't a lot of tourists. It was really more people from the city and the region. And then after Bari, I fulfilled a dream of mine to visit the Palace of Caserta, which is actually the largest palace in Europe, made by the Bourbon family when they were ruling the Kingdom of Naples. But what I really like about this photo is inside this private chapel inside the palace, they've put chairs in there. You can see that they're modern and made of plexiglass or something see-through. And I thought that was so great to be able to show the scale of the room without hampering the view. So I thought that was very clever. And then we wrapped up our trip in the Grotte di Castellana, these beautiful caves. And these are my friends Maisie, Hallie, and Mark, who invited me on their daughter's graduation trip. And I'm grateful for them, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have made it 200 feet underground or 200 feet back to the surface. So that is my travel gratitude. And then we're going to talk a little bit about other holidays that you might want to enjoy while you're in Europe.
Yes, I think we're each going to share one, and we're going to go in chronological order, I believe. So we will start with December 6th, which is the Finnish national holiday. Back to Finland again. What can I say? Great place. The Finnish national holiday has been celebrated for many years, since Finland became independent from Russia in 1917. It's historically a rather somber day, but it's become a bit more celebratory in tone in recent years. Finland has a very strong student tradition, and so I participated in the student events on the national holiday. This is down the main drag of Helsinki on December 6th. It was -15 Celsius, which is just a few degrees above 0 Fahrenheit. So we were very well dressed. We had our student hats on, we had our torches, and you can see how beautiful Helsinki is dressed up. That's the Stockmann. They're the largest department store in the Nordic countries. So we walked down the main drag. We walked by the presidential palace, where the president, Sauli Niinistö, waves at us from his balcony. And then we go to the Senate Square, where we hear different choirs sing, and they sing historic national songs. It was really something very special. And I have a short, maybe 20-second clip of one of the choirs for you. When you hear songs like that, I think you can just imagine the inner strength and fortitude of Finns. They actually have a word for it. It's called sisu, and it's kind of hard to define in English, but it's this inner strength and fortitude that Finns have had through all of their struggles and successes over the decades and centuries. So the Finnish national holiday is a wonderful celebration. And just down the street from where the choir was singing is that Helsinki Christmas market I talked about earlier. So you can have kind of a double treat there on a visit to Helsinki.
With some of the Lola, what?
Joulutorttu, the
Yes,
cookies?
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
of
starting to
course.
practice.
Yes.
Now that I've been made brave by my glue line.
Very good. And Lisa, I think you're going to take us further into December, is that right?
I'm going to take you to the end of December. I don't have any pictures, but I'm going to talk about Hogmanay, which is a very important Scottish holiday. And personally, this is a holiday I would fly to Europe for. It is about friends and neighbors connecting and community. And Hogmanay, or New Year's Eve, very important in Scotland because for 400 years, Yule celebrations were banned. As a matter of fact, Christmas wasn't an official holiday again until 1958. So Hogmanay, which predated Christmas, became very important. One of the things you do on Hogmanay is you leave your front door and your back door open so you can bring in the front door good tidings, good luck, and out the back door you can leave the past year and anything bad that came along with it. You shoot that out the back door. And there is something called first footing, and that is, so the first person who comes into your house across your threshold should be a tall, dark-haired man, and he should bring coal, shortbread, salt, black buns, which is like a Scottish fruitcake, and whiskey. And that symbolizes warmth, prosperity, food, flavor, and good cheer. Now, a man showing up at midnight with shortbread and whiskey, that's some good fortune right there.
I love that. I have the tall part done. I just need to dye my hair and I'll be very popular in Scotland around that time of year.
Fantastic.
Hmm.
What have you got to tell us to round us out with?
So, yeah, this is kind of our last category and our last item, and it is fitting because I am going to talk about Tres Reyes, which is the last holiday of the Christmas season. So Tres Reyes literally means the three kings, and it celebrates the story in the Bible when the three magi bring gifts to the baby Jesus. And it is celebrated on January 6th, which is, we talk about the 12 days of Christmas.
Mhm.
That is the 12th and final day of Christmas. And it is the primary gift-giving holiday in Spain. And lots of towns celebrate not only by gift giving, but they will have a parade around the town with three people dressed as the three magi on their way to deliver their gifts. And this tradition, as many aspects of Spanish culture was brought to the New World, where it's also celebrated throughout Latin America. And it has a nice connection for me because my good friend Ruben is from Mexico, and they also celebrate Tres Reyes down there. And they do so with a traditional pastry. In Spain, it's called the Roscón de Reyes. In Latin America, it's called the Rosca de Reyes. And it's supposed to be shaped like a crown. My friend Ruben gets a very large one, so it's kind of an oblong oval. But what you do is everybody takes a slice, and hidden in it is a small figurine that gets baked in. It used to be a bean. Now most places do a little plastic figurine. Sometimes it's a king, sometimes it's a little baby Jesus, sometimes it's a figure from pop culture. But the idea is that whoever gets that little figurine gets good luck for the year to come. Some of them, since it's called Tres Reyes, the three kings, the box also comes with a crown in it, and whoever gets the little figurine gets to wear the crown. If you all thought that I was taking this crown off, you are mistaken, because I'm going to be the Christmas king for the whole evening. So that is one of my favorite traditions and one that rounds out the season. We're going to have a quick word from our sponsor. I would first like to remind you that we here at Rick Steves Europe have a Christmas book, Rick Steves European Christmas. A lot of the things that we discussed tonight are discussed in more detail in this book, in addition to many, many more things. This book is a great companion also to our television special, European Christmas. And if you go on our website, you can actually get a whole Christmas gift pack. It's just $20. You get the book, you get a DVD of the European Christmas show, and you get a CD with 20 songs that are included throughout the holiday special to make your holidays merry and bright. Ben, what else do we want people to know about?
I will just remind folks, or maybe tell you for the first time, that we have a holiday sale going on right now, our annual sale, our most comprehensive sale of the year. It's at ricksteves.com and on Saturdays here in our Edmonds, Washington Travel Center. Everything is 20% off, and for a limited time, we have free shipping on orders over $50. So consider making an order and getting yourself a gift, a friend perhaps, or maybe some planning items, some guidebooks for travels next year.
I thought you were going to say, or maybe something for your coworkers.
Haven't we exchanged enough gifts tonight, Lisa?
I got a cookie from Ben. That was nice.
Well, you've certainly exchanged enough. I think Lisa and I have some catching up.
Yeah, waiting for another go. I have the pleasure to give you breaking news. We are starting something tomorrow called our Seasons Givings. And for every new tour member that signs up, a $100 donation will be generated. And you can choose from the Sierra Club, the Rick Steves Climate Smart Initiative, the ACLU, or the Foreign Exchange Foundation. I don't have the exact title, but you can choose from one of these, or you can split it and go 4 ways. So I wanted you to know about that because that's really cool. Anytime we can get Rick to write a check to a charity, it makes us all happy around here. And the tour department manager would also like me to let you know that tomorrow, by the end of the day, there will be some tours on sale. So if you haven't signed up for a 2024 tour, please do so. We'd love to see you out on the road.
And actually, Lisa, you reminded me, one of the options that people can select for us to donate $100 for is the one that's helping underserved student populations have experiences abroad. And one of the few organizations that will benefit from that is Teens of Color Abroad. Yes. And our avid Monday Night Travel viewers will remember Lamar Chambly from Teens of Color Abroad joining us this past summer. So it's a cool way to also support an organization that you know at this point.
That's wonderful.
So I think to round out the show, we just have a few goodies left for you all at the end. The first thing, and Ben, if you could pull it up on the PowerPoint, we loved reading the gratitudes from our travelers. We got many more submissions than we could share, but we do have a final few, I'm going to call them Christmas cards, a final few photos from some of our travelers that we would love to share. So we have, let me consult my notes here. So first,
some friends on the Rhine.
We do. We have the Semmelink family on the Rhine River sporting their Keep On Traveling t-shirts. So we're happy to have them. And the Semmelinks, if you're watching now, happy holidays to you. We also have the Nelsons in Rome. So Dency, especially, is a frequent viewer of ours. So Dency, we wish happy holidays to you and your family. Next, we have Dennis and Jim, who had a great adventure through Lisbon this year and sent us these photos from the streetcar and from, it looks like, just waiting for a bus or a train. We have Tracy and Bobby in Korčula, who just, I believe I remember in Tracy's email, she said that they had more fun than 2 humans should be allowed to have. And I feel like this photo really communicates that. And lastly, we have one more photo, and it comes from Jan, who is there in the middle. And Jan and some of her friends that she met traveling, and now they now continue to travel together. This is them in the Dordogne region of France.
Ooh, ooh la la.
So a big thank you to all of you. While Ben and Lisa put their crowns on, I just want to remind you all that we have a lot of exciting shows upcoming. Ben, what are we doing on December 4th?
we are going to Ukraine to learn about Ukrainian culture, which is fantastic and on the rise, I would say, even during these difficult times. So we'll celebrate Ukrainian culture next week, December 4th.
And so Ben will be hosting that show. And then the Lisa train will be pulling into the station on December 11th. Lisa, what are you gonna be doing on December 11th?
We are going to be all outdoorsy with Pat O'Connor. He's returning to Monday Night Travel. He has been an avid hiker as long as I've known him, and he's going to talk about his favorite hikes all over Europe. So I'm very excited about that.
And finally, on December 18th, our last show of the year, Rick will be back with us, and he is going to do his year in review. So he is going to kind of do a large overview of all of his travels from Nordic Europe to France, to Spain, to Morocco, to Turkey. And then Rick will also be weaving in little bits of our Christmas special, since it will be just 1 week before Christmas. So we hope that you will join us for those shows. And we thank you for joining us for this celebration.
We thank you a lot. It means a lot to us that you show up every week.
On behalf of the Monday Night Travel team, happy holidays, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Good night, Ben.
Good night, Lisa. Good night, Gabe. Good night, everybody.
Good night.